Welcome, everyone. Greetings and welcome to the Food and Beer Whispers. I am your host for the Food and Beer Whispers, James Piranha Madonna. Of course, I do food, and I am here with my guest, the one and only Tom Mulvihill, the Beer Whisperer. And how you feeling, Tom?
I'm good.
Oh,
How are you, James?
Great. Now, we are broadcasting live from the James Piranha Madonna personal broadcasting studio at the Newsletter Censored Research Center in Northeastern New Jersey. And this is where we do our on-the-road shows. And I want to talk about a couple things. I want to talk about how you people out there who, because of the terrible economy, the bad economy and the bad job market, a lot of people are starting to grow victory gardens on their property, providing your home was not foreclosed yet. You still have your house, people are growing gardens. And there is a way for you to save money on fertilizing your veggies and fruit trees, and also your house plants, and your herb garden, and that is with water from a freshwater aquarium. If you have a freshwater aquarium, or you have an outdoor goldfish pond, or you just have a bunch of 5-gallon buckets, you can easily put some cheap feeder goldfish, which are baby comets, in there. And what you do is, you got to do water changes for goldfish anyway because they're dirty. So what you do is you take the dirty water from the goldfish and you use that to water your plants, whether it be house plants, veggies, herbs, or fruit. And you keep these goldfish for the purpose of creating your own cheap homemade fertilizer. It makes an outstanding fertilizer for your crops and your house plants. So I'm saving you money here. Then you bring it, if you have a basement, you bring them in the basement when the frost hits, for those that are living in the northern hemisphere, and you continue to produce your cheap fertilizer using the fish water. Now, because there's a lot of nitrogenous waste in there. For those of you that go out and buy jarred spaghetti sauce because you don't know how to make spaghetti sauce at home, the easy, inexpensive way, what you do is you simply get a large stock pot. You pour several tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. You cover the entire bottom of the stock pot with the extra virgin olive oil. Of course, you preheat the stock pot first on a low flame. You got to keep it on a low flame, otherwise it's going to burn. All right. Now, after you preheat it, you put about a half a dozen cloves of crushed garlic, cloves in there, and onions, and you brown it about halfway. Don't brown it too much because it'll get bitter. And then you have, on the side, you have a large can of crushed tomatoes or puree. And then you have one can of tomato paste, which is a concentrate. You have one can of paste, one large can of puree or crushed tomatoes. Then when your onions and garlic are browned sufficiently, and of course you could have peppers in there, you can put mushrooms in there, you can saute this. And you can also put lean ground beef if you want to make a meat sauce. You can put sausages that are partially fried or partially grilled or partially boiled. You can put Italian sweet sausages. You can put pork neck bones, which my grandmother used to put in the sauce, beef tails, and you brown this whole base on the bottom of the stock pot. Then when it's done, you pour the can of crushed tomatoes or puree, and you put the one can of tomato paste in there, but you make sure you get all the tomato out of the can. And what you do is you use spring water or filtered water. I use a Brita filter. You put that in the can, get all the excess tomato out. Then you top it off with the water, because the tomato paste, which is a tomato concentrate, will make all that excess water in the pot into sauce. Fill that up. You put a big handful of basil, fresh or dried, a heaping teaspoon of oregano. You can put thyme in there. Don't throw the alarm clock. I mean thyme, the herb. You know, like a table.
That's why that's funny.
Then a heaping teaspoon of thyme, if you like it, and a heaping teaspoon of sea salt, and let's see, and yeah, that's basically it. You stir it up, and you let that slow simmer, very slow simmer on a low medium flame. You cover it and you let that simmer or slow boil, which will happen when you cover it, for a few hours. Start it early, let it go for a few hours, three or 4 hours or whatever. Let it cook. It will cook down to a very thick, rich sauce, which will be enough for 2 Sunday dinners of spaghetti or macaroni. If you freeze the leftovers, it'll be good for 2. And really, that's it for homemade spaghetti sauce. Don't put sugar in it like a lot of these stupid jabronis out there that were told by idiots to put sugar in their spaghetti sauce. There's enough sugar naturally in tomatoes. And the lycopene, which is very important and good for a man's prostate, to prevent enlargement of the prostate, it comes out more when you cook the tomatoes. All right, so that is a good basic spaghetti sauce. Now, I want to bash all you henpecked husbands out there that every time you men out there want to do something important, something you love, something you have passion for, like, it could be anything that you love. Don't let your wives and kids bug you. Put your foot down. Honestly, I would tell them to shut the fuck up, or else I'll put these pointy cowboy boot where the sun don't shine. But you continue to do what's important to you. And this is kind of like connected to the pussy whipped men I was talking about on the last show. The pussification of the American male. In this case, don't let your wives or significant others, girlfriends, and kids bug your ass when you want to do something that's important to you. Now, concerning the last show we did, it was pretty funny. We did a tribute to the Olympics, and Tom put not 1, but 2 raw eggs in the glass of beer, and he chugged it to the Rocky song. And nobody commented, so Tom had a comment, and he said that he's an animal. But nobody commented out there. You know what? I was reading some posts on regional craft beer and regional food and drink, and mostly honest craft beer reviews. And Tom, I am totally convinced that there are a lot of stuffed shirt food and beer snobs out there. They have no sense of humor. They have no personality. They make too much out of beer and wine. Really, come on. It's not rocket science. It's fucking fermentation, for God's sakes. Give me a break.
Yeah, I know I rubbed some of them the wrong way. Because
screw them. I'll punch them out.
But I mean, I get a lot of advice and learn a lot about good beers from a lot of folks that do take it more serious than I do. But I think you need to have a lighter side as well.
That exactly, and we're not just talking about light summer beers either. We're talking about a lighter side, a little levity, having a personality, which means a lot in having a show become successful. I mean, personality, showmanship, you need it to entertain people. You can't bore them like these food and beer snobs out there, these stuffed shirts that have no sense of humor, that leave no comments, and they try to act very sophisticated. So they make you think they're better than you, that you're an average folk, and they're like so sophisticated. Look, I don't care how much money these yuppies make. It's still possible to have a personality and joke around and still educate the public. So you idiots out there, you're jealous of the Mega Life 21 shows, you're jealous of James Piranha Madonna, and you're jealous of Tom Mulvihill, the beer whisperer. And I would camel clutch you in a heartbeat, pile drive you, body slam you pencil neck geeks out there. How dare you not host accolades to us, the undisputed kings of the food and beer universe. All right.
Well,
Woo! It's all yours, Tom.
some of them need to try to chug 2 eggs in a beer.
Yeah, let me see you beer snobs, jabronis out there on Honest Craft Beer Reviews chug 2 raw eggs.
I got a few friends out there that are a little lighter too. I thought they might say something, but nobody commented on it. It's like it just got ignored completely.
They blew you off. They totally dissed you. That not one raw egg.
It's about the eggs for sure, but nothing.
Not one raw egg, but 2 raw eggs you chugged to the Rocky song.
Yeah. That was brutal too.
Yeah, now what you got there? Let's show us the label.
Actually, and what I'm talking about today, we're kind of what the hell is beeping here?
You know, see what I mean by rudeness? How dare they interrupt our show?
This is brand new from Boulevard.
Boulevard, the name of the brewery is Boulevard?
Boulevard Brewing, yeah, they're out of Kansas City, Missouri. This is their new, they call it 80-acre hoppy wheat. It's 5.5%, 20 IBUs. A little hoppier than your average American wheat beer, and that's kind of what they were trying to go for.
Oh, this is a light one, sir. It looks very citrusy, you know, very...
It is, actually,
yeah.
and that's the purpose of it.
Yellow. It looks refreshing. It looks like a lemony...
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. What's the weather out there? I mean, here I'm 103 today. How about you all?
Not quite that, but we're about 90. We're supposed to have a big thunderstorm today. We're supposed to have it last night, but you know. But anyway,
there's times you want that big, flavorful beer. And there's times you just want something like this that's light and refreshing. You know what I mean?
You know what the problem, the drawback, as much as I love it, Tom, the drawback of the hearty, thick, toothy, full-bodied stouts and porters, as much as I love a strong-tasting beverage, they kind of bloat me and fill me up, you know, where I don't really have much room for food. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's a lot like, I guess, eating a whole grain loaf of bread by yourself. And, you know, but with the light one, sometimes you just want a thirst quencher in the summertime.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want something that'll go down easy like a Tijuana hooker.
Right. Tijuana hooker? You got to watch them for crab lice.
I mean, I'm not advocating such things. Don't get me wrong.
Man,
I may or may not have personal knowledge of such
you have
things.
to spray her, and you have to spray her and your schlong with Lysol with the Tijuana hooker. But anyway, getting back to this very pretty yellowish, lemony-looking light beer.
Yeah, summer. You know, not everything has to be about these big monster ABVs and big monster flavors. Sometimes it's just about relaxing with a decent beer. This is a good quality beer. Runs about $7 a 6-pack. I bought this for $6.88 a 6-pack, actually. And like I said, it's 5.5%. It's just solid refreshing.
Is this an IPA, sir?
No, they call it a hoppy wheat. It's only 20 IBUs. Wheat beers are generally, of course, there are no hard and fast rules, but they generally are 4.5 to 5%. Most only have, somewhere between 10 to 15 IBUs. And there are exceptions, so don't write me letters. But this one is 5.5%, 20 IBUs, so it is bigger than the average wheat. But it is meant to be light enough to be sessionable and refreshing.
What was that word again? Session?
Sessionable. I don't know if that's a real word. I use it. The session beer, something you can drink a lot of.
Oh, sessionable.
Sessionable.
In other words, the frequency of the consumption.
Frequency, yeah. You know, a session beer. A session beer is something you can drink several of.
Even during intercourse, you can put it on the girl's back while you're
if you got a mind to.
If you're engaged.
By golly, by golly, don't hold back. That's what I say.
if you're engaging in doggy style, you can rest that beer on the girl's lower back, and it will make an excellent section. A beer for all occasions in the summertime.
Oh boy, we took that in the wrong direction, but okay.
The wrong erection or direction?
I see. Well, that's why that's funny.
Listen. We're about ratings here at Food and Beer Whisperers, and this is Internet Talk Radio, and we're not FCC or corporate controlled, so we can say any damn thing we want. Now, I have to ask you a question. I like that label. Could you please hold that label steady and close to the camera? That tractor of the Kansas City, there you go. Yeah, hold it still, brother. Hold it still. Is that a big hop in the back of the tractor?
It's a big hop in the back.
You know, you gotta love the artists that work for craft breweries. Gotta love them all. They come up with the most clever, cute, fun names and pictures.
Kansas City Bowl. That's a great big hop flower in the back.
Okay, I have to ask you something before you go to the. Oh, did you finish that beer?
No, not quite.
Oh, just hold it up because it has a pretty color.
Yes, it does. It's very nice.
It's like a cross between a lemonade and a urine sample.
Cha cha cha.
Cha 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 cha. Listen, I got a question for you. I have to be very comical because I was supposed to do another show and the guest didn't show up. So believe it or not, this show I'm doing with Tom Mulvihill right now is totally spur of the moment. It's totally spur of the moment. And we didn't plan on this. We'll talk about...
I just told you if you wanted to do an improv show, I was here.
Talk about unrehearsed and spur of the moment and ad-libbed. You can't get more ad-libbed and unrehearsed than this. Now, my question is this, sir.
Okay.
The first question. Is it absolutely mandatory, in order to make an IPA, is it absolutely mandatory to use hops?
Yes, I would think so.
Hops. Okay, now, a friend of mine who is a member of my groups is a lovely lady from the country of Botswana, South Africa. And I was talking to her about craft beer. It just happened to come up, and she told me that in fact they do make a sorghum beer since sorghum is so popular in South Africa. They do make a sorghum beer called Zebra in Africa. And she is thinking of starting a little brewery in Botswana. And since sorghum is a very hardy and drought-resistant crop, so is millet. I'm assuming that since they already make sorghum beer, maybe they can make sorghum with millet.
Wow. I'm not sure.
So she told me the name of, being that she has a fear of, she's trying to overcome a fear of bullfrogs, and she has lots of giant African bullfrogs around where she lives. I gave her the idea of calling it the Bloated Bullfrog Lager Sorghum Beer. The Bloated Bullfrog, and get an artist to paint a funny picture of a bloated bullfrog. That's cute, being that, we've been joking around about her fear of bullfrogs. it might be a good idea to start a brewery, because I don't know of any African brewery that exports beer, sorghum or otherwise, internationally. I don't know of any. I mean, if you go to that import store, Tom, take a look and see if there's any African beers there.
Yeah, I'll take a look. I don't know any off the top of my head. Your friend John Stardumsky may know of some. He's more of a world traveler than I am. My knowledge is more so in the American craft area, but you might ask John. He might know more than I, but I will look.
What about Chuck? What's his name? Chuck Triplett?
Oh, Chuck's another guy. Chuck Triplett. I mean, he's a guy who travels all over the world looking for beer. So I'm more of an enthusiast. I don't have some of the credentials that some of those guys have. I have been around for a while, and I probably drank as much beer as those guys have, but I don't. Due to my situation, I don't travel like those guys do. So.
Yeah, I'm not a beer expert either. I mean, I just know what I like, and I know I like old world style, 100% natural foods and beverages, and I love good wine, and all I know is that the fermentation process, no matter how you shake it, is yeast growing and converting the sugars to alcohol.
Yes, it is. That's what it is.
That's it, more or less.
That's what it is. That's it.
That's it. So these food and beer snobs that make friggin' rocket science, that make a quantum physicist science out of beer and wine and try to act so sophisticated. You know what? Blow it out of your ass, because it's not that deep. Now, that was a pretty refreshing looking beer that you just had. And again, mention the company and where they're from, so our viewers can get a good
Boulevard Wheat. Boulevard 80 Acre Hoppy Wheat Beer. They are out of Kansas City, Missouri, and they've been around for quite some time. Since the late 80s, about 89, I think, is when they first popped up. And they were known for a long time for just a pretty solid, if unspectacular, session line. But now they have a series called the Smokestack Series, which has their very large, beers in it that have the big ABVs, the big flavors, and they are fantastic. And Boulevard right now is one of the bigger, one of the fastest growing craft breweries in the country.
All right. Excellent. It's all yours. The rest is beer, and I know you have another one to pop.
I'm gonna pop one more here.
Yeah, if you wanna rest your, if you wanna rest your stomach and talk and banter, I'm not saying you have to pop them one after the next, like a machine, but feel free to.
I am an animal. I'll go ahead and pop her. I got one more to do while I have some time. Okay. Speaking about pussy whip men, not exactly pussy whip, but I do have a family. Out of the house at the moment, so I am.
Yeah, I mean, I know guys that get their agendas sabotaged for the stupidest reasons. It's like an insecure, selfish thing. Some women are. They have their steady boyfriend or their husband with them all the time, and it's like a kid. They want their mother with them 24/7. Heaven forbid their mother.
My wife is extremely reasonable. We're not joined at the hip by any means.
You're not Siamese twins.
Sometimes it's just about being polite. You have to. I do ask permission. I never tell my wife this is what I'm going to do. I don't know if I actually ask permission. I just say, well, this is what I like to do. And most of the time it's fine.
You tell her, yeah.
Never objects. It's just sometimes there was a family matter that I forgot about. So,
right.
And of course, what my situation is with my son. So sometimes things happen.
Well, I'm just saying. You simply tell her ahead of time that you're doing something that you really want to do, And if there's
Yeah.
if there's an
Yeah,
appointment,
it's not about being demanding. It's just about being polite, saying this is what I like to do.
courtesy.
And do the same with her too. So
Okay.
she's out shopping with her mom right now. So
Yeah, but I'm just saying, sometimes, sometimes people will flat out, like, stand you up and stiff you. I mean, without telling you anything,
yeah, see, that's wrong. Yeah, that's wrong.
Okay, Zawickle. I've seen that word, and I know I like to make jokes about Zawickle. Show me the link.
Pickle is good for even pickle. Yeah, I've had this one before on your show, and I hate to do a lot of repeats, but sometimes you need to repeat a couple, I think. Again, we're talking about good summer styles. This is a regional German beer, and this is the only American craft version that I have seen. I don't know if there's others out there, but this is the only one that I've personally seen. And this is my favorite beer this year, of the summertime, of this season, because it's just so fantastic.
Zawickle is definitely good for your pickle.
And there's a couple of things I like about it. I love the taste, obviously. I like the brewery, but I love these bottles.
Yeah, keep that label still for several seconds so people can read it. There you go. And the name of this company is Urban
Chestnut.
Chestnut.
They're out of St. Louis. And it's a 5.1% 19 IBU Bavarian style lager.
Is it flavored?
Awesome.
Is it
But
flavored?
I love that they come in these 16.7 ounce bottles. I love that because I love to be able to pour a full pint at home.
Is it flavored with chestnut?
No, this one isn't. I do have another one from them that is the wing nut. This one isn't flavored with chestnut.
Okay.
Oh, it is just awesomely refreshing though. So much flavor going on for a lighter session beer. It is so good. And I think it is good for my pickle, actually. I don't know that for a fact, but I think it is.
Well, it is. We're definitely covering a lot of refreshing summer brews this year with our summer shows.
Yeah.
Between IPAs and all in between. We're definitely covering a very decent amount of summer craft beers. And they all look great. I'm just really proud and happy of how beer, real, genuine, old world style quality beer has evolved in America, and the massive amounts of micro craft breweries that we have in this country now.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of. In fact, St. Louis area has a ton. This is one of them, Urban Chestnut. One of my other favorites out there is Four Hands. But they've got several, Square One, 6 Row. There's a couple others I'm not thinking of at the moment. But yeah, many towns have several. We have a brew pub here called Springfield Brewing Company, and then we have a brewery also called Mother's that does some fantastic beers too, right here in our little town of Springfield.
So that company was Four Hands, not Foreskin, right?
Yeah, Four Hands. Yeah, that's a whole other flavor altogether.
Yeah. What, foreskin?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the Zawickle is
That's something else altogether. I'll tell you that.
So what is the now? How could you describe the flavor of the Zawickle compared to the wheat beer you had before? I mean,
well, yeah, it's different. Oddly enough, I mean, it is lighter in ABV and IBUs.
Mm-hmm.
But the contradiction is that it actually is a little bigger in flavor, which seems odd, right? But it does. That's when there's something about this beer I just love because it just has so much flavor for a lighter summer session ale. It's just power packed with flavor. If you can see that, it's designed. It is unfiltered and unpasteurized, so it's supposed to be cloudy like that. That is its nature. Mm. It is so yummy. And I just love having a full pint of beer at home. Usually you go out, you order a pint. You have a 12-ounce beer at home, but I love having a full pint of beer at home. I love that.
All right. Sounds great.
Been married for almost 20 years. It doesn't take much to excite me. No thanks. A full pint of beer. Holy cow!
A pint of beer should be the standard amount, not these little plastic cups of beer that they sell at carnivals. Bunch of cheap bastards. Should always be a pint minimum.
Well, let me show you something. This is a pint glass.
Oh yeah.
It's it was part of a series that I bought that had kind of the old world styles on it. But this is a pint glass. Here's the truth, though. If you go to a bar and you order a pint, most places are going to give you a glass this size.
Right.
Okay, here's the problem. You only get a pint if they pour it straight to the top with no head whatsoever. If you get a beer like this with this much head, what you've got is a 12-ounce pour. Now, you think you're buying a pint, but you're buying a 12-ounce pour.
Yeah, the rascals know it too, and I mean the bar owners, the restaurant owners know it. We're getting a good profile of Tom Mobile.
I'm in trouble. My wife just got old.
That's all right. That's all right.
No, it's not all right. He's trying to tear up my computer like he tore up his.
He's a true professional broadcaster at his finest.
I was supposed to do something.
He's a broadcast journalist of beerology, brewology.
I just had to take my computer into the shop because some keys weren't working, and she's convinced it's because I spilled beer on it.
You mean how is the is it the keyboard or the PC?
Well, it's a laptop. It was the keyboard on the computer.
I want to get this keyboard that's on the info.
What I'm doing right now, James, is I'm putting Preston seal on the keyboard because my wife just gave me that look like I might not have sex ever again. So.
Oh, don't say that. Your son is in the background.
Because I don't get a lot of sex, but I like to have it occasionally.
Occasionally, yeah. I would say a good frequency would be 5 times a day.
Yeah, me too. But truthfully, I'd be happy with twice a week at this point. But that's a whole other argument.
That's a whole argument. That's a whole other talk show. That's a whole new talk show. Now, what was I saying before? Oh,
That's a whole new talk show.
the keyboard. Oh, how's Seamus doing?
How's Seamus? You want to talk to him?
Not better than he said.
He's good. Oh, you want to show me your birthday stuff?
Yeah. Well, if he comes on the air, he could tell his friends he's going to be on worldwide.
His birthday is actually next Saturday, but we had a birthday party for him yesterday.
Really?
He got some CDs he wanted to show you from his uncle.
Yeah, my birthday was August 1st, so his birthday's about.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday, James!
Oh, thank you. So Seamus is a Leo.
Go ahead and show him.
What do you got? What's that?
Let me look up
Video games?
No, there are CDs. He wanted some music.
Oh.
This is Mumford and Sons. They kind of got like a Celtic sound to them.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah. I like that. What is that Irish group? The Chieftains?
The Chieftains, yeah.
They're pretty good. Been
This
around
one's
a while.
called Cage the Elephant, and I don't know how to describe their sound exactly. They're a little different.
They're a newer rock band, but they're real unique.
I like the gothic metal. The European gothic heavy metal, and I like all that stuff. Oh wow! Look at that.
Started. This is the Dropkick Murphys. They're kind of like an Irish kind of punk.
Okay. A lot of great rock bands coming out of that part of the world.
Yeah, these guys are out of Boston, and they're just awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Metallica. And I like them. I like Godsmack. I like. There you go, Real Big Fish.
The Real Big Fish is kind of a ska band.
Of course, my favorite pictures on CDs would be the Latin music. They got these good-looking hoochies not wearing much clothing at all.
The wife brought some Popeyes home for lunch.
How about that? Spicy or mild?
Both. Gasimas and I like spicy, wife mild.
Yeah, I like spicy too. I like the buttermilk biscuits. I like the popcorn shrimp.
Mm-hmm.
I like the popcorn shrimp. The spicy Cajun fries are decent, and the smashed potatoes with brown gravy is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I got the Cajun kind of gravy. It's got a little spice.
Little pork, little bits of pork.
We got some family squabble going on behind me.
That
You
let
can
it
tell
squabble.
it was rehearsed, right?
That's a little more levity to the show. That's good. Let them fight. Let them fight. Hey, remember the episode of South Park when Eric Cartman ate all the skin off the chicken, and the kids were pissed off because they loved the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Skin has all the flavor, actually.
The skin has all the flavor. Yeah, all the fat, but all the flavor too.
Yeah, that's true. That's why there's flavor. What else do I like? Unfortunately, Popeyes doesn't have milkshakes. They only have the soda machine, you know. But there's like birch beer, root beer. There's a lot of good. They got the automated machine where you press the button and you pick whatever you want. You know, free
Seamus
refills.
likes the sweet tea there. Did you guys buy sweet tea?
That's too much sugar for me, man. Yeah, I've had it. Too sweet. What else do I like there? The popcorn shrimp. The crawfish I wouldn't get because they gave me so little crawfish. I made a big stink about it. I said, come on, man. What is this? With the popcorn shrimp, I usually I get 2 orders of popcorn shrimp and mashed potato or baked macaroni and cheese large. Or
Yeah.
I'll get the Cajun French fries. And then if I'm still hungry, I'll go back and I'll get maybe a breast and a wing, you know,
Yeah.
or a thigh and a drumstick spicy, you know, if I'm still hungry. So anyway, the last beer, I was going to talk about the keyboard they advertised on the infomercial. You know, it's
No trouble.
It's spill resistant. There's big jumbo keys. They're bright yellow with black, you know, font, easy to read, and they're spill-resistant keyboards. I want to
My
get
beer
that.
was nowhere near the keyboard, but I did put press and seal on it like I was instructed to.
Okay, yeah. Tom needs that infomercial keyboard. That's liquid-proof, waterproof keyboard. All right, now we're still on the Zwickel.
There's a pickle. There's a pickle. It's good for your pickle.
And you can probably dip the pickles in.
I do now. I didn't before.
You can dip the
I'm getting Naga vision now.
So what we were talking about at the beginning of the show is very applicable to this entire show. Applicable. That's applicable for you late
Hey
people.
James, I need you to tell my wife that this show was not planned, that it just came about.
This show was extremely spur of the moment, very unplanned, because I was supposed to do a show with another person who stood me up, and Tom was online, and I told Tom that I got stood up, and Tom says, well, I got the house to myself. My wife is shopping. Let's do a show.
Yeah, why not?
There you go.
Okay, here we go.
All right, this is a Zwickel. And then when you're done, just please hold the label nice and steady so the people could read it again. Because I know how short the American attention span is. You know, they don't listen. They don't follow directions when you talk to the average person in America. There you go. Got it? Absorb it, people. Especially you beer snobs out there.
Well, I mean, I chugged eggs and they won't talk about it, so I don't know what I have to do to get some attention.
You gotta do a real naked beer whisperer.
That didn't even work.
I know, you didn't even get comments on the naked beer whisperer and the dancing Buddha.
I'm telling you.
What is wrong?
What has the guy got to do?
Are these people zombies? Maybe I should call them beer zombies instead of
Beer
beer snobs.
zombies, yeah. I mean, the egg thing was brilliant.
This is
I challenge them to try it, by God.
These shows that we do are absolute gold, and those people are just jealous. They're jealous. They don't have our sense of humor. They don't have our wit. They don't have our intelligence. They know how to take a fermented beverage and make it much bigger than it actually is.
All right.
Like a news report, like a weatherman or a weatherwoman, talk and talk and talk and talk and talk instead of just giving the damn weather report. You know? It's all fluff. It's all unnecessary stuffing. You know, it's like putting too much bread in your stuffing and not enough seasoning. It's all fluff, unnecessary. All right. So
Well,
refreshing.
what do you want to do what should be our finale, James?
All right. Do you have an IPA or a lager or a stout that we have not covered on our shows?
No, not right now that I can do for you. This is the last one I'm ready for.
What, Zwickel?
This is a Mickle, yeah.
Okay, now let it be the Zwickel. So just, drink the Zwickel. And
So what's our last ending conversation?
our last ending conversation, let's see, should be that if you happen to have in print a good old world lager beer basic recipe for home brewers that I can send to my friend in Botswana, Africa, just in case her countrymen don't know the actual old world Eastern European, German, whatever recipe. Maybe they can tweak the sorghum beer. And
I tell you, I don't know off the top of my head, but I will find a recipe for sure.
yeah, and I will, if you find one, I will send it to her. And, maybe, there's always room for improvement in everything we do. And maybe the way they've been making sorghum beer can be modified and improved.
Yeah, sure.
And
There are several out there. My problem with them is not that I don't like the taste, is that they're very expensive.
well, they don't need to be now because she told me it's a very common crop in Africa.
Well, the ones that are available here in the States are very expensive.
Because it's different and they make it expensive because it is different. It is different. This is all capitalist bullcrap. They're making it expensive. It's not that it is expensive. For God's sakes, it's a crop grown in poor countries in Africa. It's drought resistant. It's very hardy and it grows in harsh conditions. How expensive could a sorghum grain be if you make molasses out of it?
Well, I don't know, but I'm telling you, the sorghum beers that are available here, the gluten-free beers, are very expensive.
It's a ripoff. They're playing games, just like the rest of us.
Yeah, they're very expensive.
Just like the stock market, the economy. It's all a snake oil salesmanship game. Sorghum is, in actuality, a cheap ingredient. Just like barley is supposed to be cheap, and wheat is supposed to be cheap, and oats is supposed to be cheap. And they make a big deal out of it. As soon as they slap a real pretty label on it with a clever name and go into business in America,
That's right,
they got to jack up the price. Their markup is way too high. And of course, the food and beer snobs out there would disagree and say, "Oh, the overhead is very costly in the United States, and we put a lot
Well,
of
overhead
work
in
into our-"
Texas can get pricey, and hops are pricey, but
Maybe hops.
here is my issue. There are some breweries that will put out a very good quality, as good as any IPA for $9 or $8 a 6-pack, $9 a 6-pack at the most. When others will put out an IPA claiming they're better for $15 a 6-pack at no better quality. That's my issue. I know it has to be a certain amount of money, but there's no reason why there should be a $9 to $16, a difference.
Exactly. There shouldn't be. But they'll tell you, they'll go on and make a big deal about, oh, the process is very tedious. Now, do they grow hops in the United States, Tom?
Yes, yeah, they do. Many get European hops, but a lot of hops are grown in the U.S. There's some of the best hops in the world are from the Pacific Northwest.
So the Pacific Northwest, like Oregon and Washington.
Yeah, Yakima Valley in Washington, Oregon. I mean, they're knocking out some of the best hops in the world.
So these might have the same latitude as Northern European countries where they grow hops originally, right? Weather-wise, it might be very comparable to, let's say, Germany.
I don't know, but there's no doubt that there's some of the best hops in the world being done in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, hey, man, the very fine, high-quality ginseng is grown in Wisconsin. You don't need to grow ginseng in northern China or Korea. It has been grown, the same plant, in the state of Washington, which is made possibly the same, latitude as the northern Asian countries. So it can be done. I mean, why not? To save on costs. Maybe Canada's growing hops too. You know what I mean? You got to save that sheet of plastic.
Yeah, that's my Princeton seal.
But you got to get a spill resistant keyboard.
I will look into it.
Yeah. Well. Actually, with the laptop, you don't have any choice because the keyboard is part of the laptop.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately. So what I would do is use the plastic on your laptop. Your laptop has a built-in mic and webcam.
Yes, it does.
And that's the one that you would take to a bar or to a pub to do a show at the bar. You would take your laptop.
Yeah. If we were ever able to do it, that's what I do.
Actually, it'll work fine because if you put the laptop on the bar and face it towards you, it'll almost be like me sitting on the bar stool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's simulated. Actually, I don't think it's been done before. You know what I mean? But
if I can get permission from someplace in town.
By the way, some of the beer snobs from the group have actually made feeble excuses about being a guest on my show. So that further reinforces my theory that they are food and beer snobs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They want us.
Names?
Huh?
You want to mention their names?
No, because they're nice to me.
Oh, okay.
They're nice to me, but on the air, I don't want to mention their names. But
okay, that's cool. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'll type the names to you off the air.
Gotcha.
There's two people in particular, but they're nice people, but they make excuses. So I think people are.
To make them shy away, or what is it?
Maybe some people are not into the real hard-hitting truth, and maybe they're the type that's like company ass kissers, and maybe they're not. Maybe they're known psychologically as adaptive supporters. They don't make waves. They're not controversial people, and when they hear the controversy that I spew, they're afraid. They don't. What's the word? Pigeon-livered or lack of a backbone. They don't want to man up and be a guest on my show. They're afraid other people won't like them. It's kind of like a lot of liberals that have the old flower child hippie mentality. They're so paranoid about not being liked and not being accepted and not being loved. They need to be accepted and loved by everyone. Like a lot of Democrats in Washington. They want bipartisanship. They want the Republicans to love them, to accept them, to like them. It's the same personality. See, I know a lot about psychology and human nature aside from other things, but I think that's the reason. To dissect them psychologically, I think that's the reason. They just need to grow a backbone like me, Irish blackthorn shillelagh that you see right now in front of the camera. They need to grow a backbone. All right, everybody. Tom, thank you for being a guest.
Hey, thanks, James. Yeah, we gotta just pull this one off the cuff.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And thank you for joining us for the summer series of the Food and Beer Whisperers. So long. Yeah, why did they say so long? Did that come from the porno industry? Did somebody tell John Holmes that? So long when he got done with the movie. So long, John Holmes. So long. So long.
Hey, get that thing off the floor.
All right. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Please, eye out with that thing.
The most entertaining food and beverage shows in the universe. And you stick that in your pipe and smoke it, take that to the bank. The Kings right here. All right.